Lily Martinez's bloody handprint smeared across the truck stop bathroom window at 2:47 a.m., her 9-year-old face pressed against the glass, mouthing 3 words that would change everything. "Don't let them take me." The Desert Wolves Motorcycle Club had pulled off Interstate 10 for coffee and gas, exhausted from a veterans hospital run, when they saw her, terrified, bleeding, hunted. What they didn't know was that the badge-wearing men searching for her had already murdered her foster mother 3 hours earlier, and Lily was the only witness to a trafficking ring that reached the highest levels of Arizona law enforcement. If you believe that sometimes the most dangerous-looking people are the ones who fight hardest to protect innocence, subscribe to this channel, watch this story to the end, and comment what city you're watching from so I can see how far Lily's story reaches. 3 hours earlier, Lily had been doing homework at the kitchen table in the farmhouse outside Prescott, Arizona. Sarah Chen, her foster mother for the past 8 months, was the first adult who'd ever made Lily feel safe. The first one who didn't look at her like a problem to be managed. "Lily, honey, go upstairs and brush your teeth," Sarah had said suddenly, her voice tight. "Now, please." Lily looked up from her math worksheet. Sarah was staring out the kitchen window, her phone pressed to her ear, her face drained of color. "Sarah, what's wrong?" "Upstairs. Lock your bedroom door. Don't come out until I tell you." Sarah's hand was shaking. "Promise me." Lily had lived in 7 foster homes in 4 years. She knew that tone. That was the tone adults used right before everything fell apart. She ran upstairs, but didn't lock herself in her room. Instead, she crouched at the top of the stairs, watching through the banister rails. Sarah was pacing, phone still pressed to her ear. "I don't care what you threaten me with, Tom. I'm done. I have documentation. I have names. I'm calling the FBI in Phoenix tomorrow morning, and you can't stop me." The front door exploded inward. 2 men in Sheriff's Department uniforms stormed through. Lily recognized Deputy Frank Holloway immediately. He'd been to the house twice before, always asking Sarah strange questions about the other foster kids who'd stayed there, the ones who disappeared. "Sarah, don't make this harder than it needs to be," Holloway said, his hand resting on his service weapon. The second man was Sheriff Tom Grayson himself. Lee seen him on TV smiling at charity events, shaking hands with politicians. He wasn't smiling now. "You're making a mistake, Sarah, a fatal one." Sarah backed toward the kitchen counter. "There are people who know what you're doing. If anything happens to me, nothing's going to happen to you." Grayson interrupted, his voice oily. "False. We're just going to have a conversation about your responsibilities, about what happens to caseworkers who forget their place." Lily's hands gripped the banister. She wanted to scream to run down and help Sarah, but Sarah's eyes flicked upward for just a second. "A warning. Stay hidden. The children you've been moving through this house," Sarah said, her voice steady despite her shaking hands. 12 in the last 3 years. "Where did they really go, Tom?" "Because I tracked the paperwork, none of them ended up in state facilities. They just vanished." Holloway pulled his weapon. "Shut your mouth. I have copies of everything," Sarah continued. "The transfer orders you forged, the medical records you altered, the payments to Judge Riss. It's all documented. It's all backed up. And tomorrow morning it goes to the FBI whether I'm alive or dead." Grayson's face twisted. "Frank," the gunshot was so loud that Lily's ears rang. Sarah crumpled. Blood spread across the kitchen floor, pooling around the chair legs, seeping toward the refrigerator. Lily bit down on her hand to keep from screaming. Tears poured down her face, hot and silent. "Find the girl," Grayson said, stepping over Sarah's body like it was furniture. "She was here. Sarah's car is still in the driveway." Lily ran. She scrambled down the hallway to Sarah's bedroom, threw open the closet, found the lockbox Sarah had shown her once. Inside was $800 in cash, a burner phone, and car keys to a truck Lily had never seen before. "She keeps everything backed up on a hidden drive," Sarah had told her weeks ago during one of their late-night talks. "If anything ever happens to me, Lily, you take that phone and you run. There's a truck in the barn. Old Ford. Keys are in the lockbox. You drive until you find someone you can trust. Lily heard boots pounding up the stairs. She grabbed the phone and keys, shoved the cash in her jacket pocket, and climbed out Sarah's bedroom window onto the porch roof. The barn was 30 yards away. She jumped, hit the ground hard, and ran. The Ford was ancient, covered in dust, but the engine turned over on the second try. Lily had never driven anything except bumper cars at the county fair, but Sarah had taught her the basics during their afternoon drives. Just in case, Sarah had said. Just in case. She crashed through the barn doors and onto the dirt road, headlights off, driving by moonlight and memory. Behind her, she heard shouting, then gunshots. The rear window shattered. Lily pressed the accelerator to the floor and didn't look back. For 40 miles she drove, her hands cramped on the steering wheel, her vision blurred from crying. Every pair of headlights in the rear-view mirror made her heart stop. She kept hearing that gunshot, kept seeing Sarah fall. The truck sputtered and died 2 miles from the interstate, out of gas. Lily sat in the darkness, shaking, trying to breathe. The burner phone had 7 contacts. She didn't recognize any of the names except one. FBI Phoenix. She pressed call. It rang 4 times. A man answered. "This is Agent Morrison. My foster mother is Sarah Chen," Lily whispered. "Sheriff Grayson just killed her. He said something about trafficking kids. I saw everything. I have her phone." She said, "There's evidence." Silence. "Then where are you right now?" Something in his voice made Lily's stomach drop. It was the wrong kind of silence. The kind adults use when they were deciding how much truth to tell you. "Are you with the sheriff's department?" She asked. "Lily, listen to me very carefully. Stay exactly where you are. I'm going to send people to help you. People you can trust." "How do you know my name?" "I didn't tell you my name." She hung up, threw the phone into the desert scrub, ran. The truck stop appeared like an oasis. Neon lights, 18-wheelers, people, witnesses, safety, maybe. Lily's shirt was soaked with sweat and blood. She'd cut her hand climbing through the barn window. Her jeans were torn. She looked exactly like what she was, a hunted child. She stumbled into the women's bathroom and locked herself in a stall. Her reflection in the metal toilet paper dispenser showed a stranger's face. Pale, terrified, covered in dust and dried blood. That's when she heard the motorcycles, deep rumbling engines, then voices, rough, tired male voices talking about coffee and the last 90 miles home. Lily climbed onto the toilet, pushed open the small frosted window, and pressed her bloody hand against the glass. 5 bikers stood by the gas pumps. Huge men, leather vests, tattoos, skull patches, everything she'd been taught to fear. One of them, a woman with graced hair and kind eyes, looked up, locked eyes with Lily through the window. Lily mouthed the words slowly, desperately. "Don't let them take me." The woman's face changed. She elbowed the massive bearded man next to her, pointed at the window. He turned, saw Lily. His expression shifted from exhaustion to something sharp and focused. Lily pressed Sarah's backup phone against the glass, then a piece of paper she'd scribbled on with eyeliner from the bathroom dispenser. "They killed her, Sheriff." The bearded man's jaw clenched. He said something to the others. They moved fast, not toward the bathroom, but into defensive positions, scanning the parking lot, watching the road. Then Lily heard it. Sirens. Close. Getting closer. She dropped from the window, pressed her back against the bathroom wall. The door handle rattled. "Little girl. This is Deputy Halloway with the Yavapai County Sheriff's Department. We know you're in there. Your foster mother is very worried about you." Lily's breath stopped. Sarah was dead. He'd killed her. And now he was standing 5 feet away, lying, pretending. "We just want to help you, sweetheart. You're not in trouble. Just open the door." The bathroom window burst inward. The gay-haired woman from the motorcycle squeezed through the opening, dropped to the floor in a crouch. She pressed a finger to her lips, held out her hand. "My name's Maria," she whispered. "Those men outside, they hurt your foster mom." Lily nodded, tears streaming. "Then they're not taking you anywhere. Can you trust me for about 5 minutes?" Lily looked at this stranger, This biker woman with the scarred knuckles in the Harley-Davidson rings. Everything rational said no. Everything Sarah had taught her about strangers said no. But Sarah was dead, and the men with badges had killed her. Lily took Maria's hand. Good girl. We're going out that window. My friends are going to make sure nobody follows. You just hold on to me and don't let go. Holloway pounded on the door. I'm going to count to 3. Then I'm coming in. 1. Maria lifted Lily toward the window. 2. Lily scrambled through. Strong hands caught her on the other side. The bearded man. He was enormous, but his grip was gentle. 3. The bathroom door splintered. Holloway burst through. The bearded man pulled Lily behind him, positioning himself between her and the deputy. Step away from the child. Holloway barked. Hand on his weapon. No. The bearded man said simply. His voice was calm. Absolute. I don't think I will. 3 more deputies emerged from patrol cars. Then, a black SUV pulled up. Sheriff Grayson stepped out. His uniform crisp, his face unreadable. There's been a terrible misunderstanding, Grayson announced loud enough for the gathering crowd of truckers and travelers to hear. This child is a runaway. Her foster mother was found murdered tonight. We have reason to believe she may have witnessed the crime. We need to take her into protective custody. The bearded man didn't move. She says you killed her foster mother. She says you traffic children. And she's got a phone full of evidence that says she's telling the truth. Lily felt the phone in her jacket pocket. Sarah's insurance policy. Her last gift. Grayson's smile never wavered. But his eyes went cold. That's a serious accusation. I'm going to need to see some identification, all of you. And I'm going to need that phone. You're going to need a warrant, another biker said. Stepping forward. He was older, Latino, with intelligent eyes and the lawyer's bearing. My name is Marcus Rodriguez. I'm a licensed attorney in the state of Arizona. This child has indicated she's in fear for her life from your department until I see judicial authorization for her detention. She's under my protection. Grayson's mask cracked just for a second, just enough for Lily to see the rage underneath. This is obstruction of justice. This is the Constitution. Rodriguez shot back, which I'm guessing you haven't read in a while. The truck stop owner, an elderly man with Korean War veteran patches on his jacket, stepped out of the building. These boys are with me. Got their coffee. Paid their tab. Haven't caused any trouble. You want to arrest someone on my property, Tom. You're going to need more than your say-so. More vehicles appeared on the horizon. Not police cars, news vans. Someone had called the media. Grayson's face flushed. This isn't over. No, the bearded man agreed. It's not, but it's not going to end the way you planned. He turned to Lily, crouched down to her level. His eyes were grey, weathered, sad in a way that made Lily think he understood what it felt like to lose everything. My name's Jack Brennan. People call me Nomad. Those are my brothers. We're going to keep you safe until we can get real help here. FBI, state police, people who aren't on that sheriff's payroll. Can you hold on a little longer? Lily looked at Sheriff Grayson standing 20 feet away, his hand resting on his weapon. Looked at Deputy Holloway, the man who murdered Sarah. Looked at the news cameras setting up. Then she looked at Nomad, at the Desert Wolves patch on his vest, at the rows of military service medals pinned beneath it. Sarah told me, Lily whispered, that the most dangerous thing you can do is stay silent when you know the truth. Nomad's expression hardened. Your foster mother was a smart woman. They killed her because she was going to tell. She had evidence, names, everything. Then we're going to make sure she didn't die for nothing. Sheriff Grayson took a step forward. Nomad stood, placing himself between the sheriff and Lily again. The other biker closed ranks, a wall of leather and steel. Last chance, Grayson said. Hand over the girl. Come take her. Nomad replied. For 5 seconds, nobody moved. The entire truck stop held its breath. Lily could hear her own heartbeat. Could hear the wind rustling through the desert sage. Could hear the distant whine of the news helicopter approaching. Grayson smiled. It was the smile of a predator who knew his prey was cornered. You've just made the biggest mistake of your life. No, Nomad said quietly. You made yours 3 hours ago, when you killed a woman trying to protect children. We're just the consequences. The news helicopter spotlight swept across the parking lot. Grayson's jaw tightened as he realized he'd lost the element of surprise. You can't disappear a child when cameras are rolling and civilians are watching. We'll be back, Grayson said, backing toward his SUV with proper authorization, federal marshals, if necessary. You're harboring a fugitive witness to a homicide. Then I guess we'll see you in court, Rodriguez replied evenly. The patrol cars pulled out, but they didn't go far. Lily watched through the truck stop window as they parked across the street. Engines running, waiting. Holloway stood outside his vehicle, arms crossed, staring directly at her. They're not leaving, Lily whispered. No. Nomad agreed. They're not, which means we need to move you somewhere safer than a bathroom. The Desert Wolves had a modified RV parked at the far end of the lot, Park Clubhouse, Park Mobile Command Center. Maria led Lily inside, while the men formed a perimeter. The interior smelled like leather and coffee. Military medals lined one wall. Photos of veterans, some in wheelchairs, some missing limbs, covered another. Sit, Maria said gently, pointing to a bench seat. She pulled out a first aid kit. Let me see your hand. Lily's palm was still bleeding from the barn window. Maria cleaned it with antizone that stung, wrapped it carefully. Her movements were practiced, efficient. You've done this before, Lily said. Combat medic, Iraq, 2007 to 2009. Maria met her eyes. I've seen a lot of scared kids in war zones. You're holding up better than most. I don't feel like I'm holding up. That's because you're smart enough to know you're in danger. Stupid people don't survive. You're going to survive. The RV door opened. Nomad entered with Rodriguez and 2 other bikers. The bigger one had a shaved head in prison tattoos. The other was younger, maybe mid-20s, nervous energy radiating from him. Lily, this is Steele. Nomad gestured to the tattooed man. Unlucky. They're going to help keep watch while we figure out our next move. Steele nodded. Lucky smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Something about him made Lily uncomfortable, but she couldn't explain why. Rodriguez pulled out a laptop. I need to know everything, Lily. Everything you saw. Everything Sarah told you. I'm recording this for legal purposes. Your testimony might be the only thing that stops them. Lily's throat tightened. Sarah said there were 12 kids over 3 years she'd been tracking them. Kids who came through her house as foster placements and then just disappeared. The paperwork said they went to facilities in Phoenix or Tucson, but she called those places. Nobody had any record of them. Do you remember any names? Rodriguez asked. Miguel Hernandez. He was 10. Sarah fostered him for 2 weeks last spring. Then Deputy Holloway came and said there was a better placement. Miguel cried. He didn't want to go. Sarah tried to stop it, but Holloway had court orders. Miguel's been missing ever since. Nomad's fists clenched. How old are you, Lily? 9. How old was Sarah? 38. She was a social worker before she became a foster parent. She said she got into it because she wanted to help kids like me. Kids nobody else wanted. Maria's hand found Lily's shoulder. Squeezed gently. What made her suspicious? Rodriguez continued. One of the kids came back, Lily said quietly. Not to Sarah's house, but Sarah saw her at a truck stop about 6 months ago. A girl named Rosa. She'd been placed through the system 8 months before that. Sarah recognized her, but Rosa ran. Wouldn't talk to her. Sarah said Rosa looked scared, really scared, and she had new clothes, expensive ones. A woman was with her, but it wasn't anyone from the foster system. Did Sarah report it? She tried. Nobody would listen. The sheriff's department said Rosa was in a private placement in Nevada. CPS said they didn't have jurisdiction. Sarah knew something was wrong, so she started digging, making copies of files, recording phone calls. She found payments. $60,000 paid to Judge Hendricks over 2 years, all from shell companies with P.O. boxes. Rodriguez stopped typing. Judge Margaret Hendricks, Circuit Court. That's what Sarah said. She was going to call the FBI in Phoenix. She had an appointment tomorrow morning. She told me last week that if anything happened to her, I should run, that I should find someone I could trust and give them this. Lily pulled out Sarah's phone. She said, "There's a backup drive hidden somewhere. All the evidence, photos, financial records, everything." Nomad took the phone carefully, like it was made of glass. "Where's the backup?" "I don't know. She never told me. She said it was safer if I didn't know." Outside, more vehicles arrived. Not police this time. Civilian trucks, motorcycles, men and women in leather vests with different patches. Iron Brotherhood, veteran riders, desert phantoms. Steele looked out the window. Word spreading. "Brothers are showing up." "Good," Nomad said. "We're going to need them." Lucky shifted nervously. "Jack, we're talking about going up against the sheriff's department. Federal charges. This could destroy the club." "Then it destroys the club," Nomad replied flatly. "I've got a 9-year-old girl in my RV who watched her foster mother get murdered by a badge-wearing trafficker. We're way past worrying about the club's reputation. I'm just saying there are legal ways to handle this." "Legal ways," Maria interrupted. "Like reporting it to the police, to the same sheriff's department that's running the operation, or maybe Child Protective Services, which has been rubber stamping these transfers for 3 years. Lucky fell silent, but Lily saw his hand move to his pocket, saw him glance at his phone. Rodriguez pulled up files on Sarah's phone. His expression darkened as he scrolled. Jesus Christ. She documented everything. Financial transfers, text messages between Halloway and Judge Riss, photos of children with different adults, license plates, locations. He looked at Nomad. "This isn't just trafficking. This is organized, professional. Someone's been running this like a business." "Can you send it to the FBI?" Lily asked. "I can, but we need to be smart about who we send it to." If Sarah was planning to call Phoenix, she must have had a specific contact, someone she trusted. Lily thought hard. She mentioned a name once, Agent Cordova. She said he was former military, that he'd understand. Rodriguez typed rapidly. "Miguel Cordova, FBI Field Office, Phoenix, former Marine Corps Intelligence, clean record." He looked at Nomad. "I know him. Served with his brother in Fallujah. If there's anyone in the bureau we can trust, it's him. Call him." Rodriguez dialed. The conversation was short, tense. When he hung up, his face was grim. "He's coming, but he's 3 hours out. He was in Flagstaff on another case. He said to sit tight, don't engage, and for God's sake, don't let that girl out of our sight." 3 hours, Steele muttered. "That's a lifetime." He was right. 20 minutes later, a gunshot shattered the RV's rear window. Glass exploded. Lily screamed. Nomad tackled her to the floor, covering her body with his sniper. Maria yelled, killing the lights. East Ridge, maybe 400 yards. Steele grabbed his rifle from a locked case. "I got him." Another shot. This one punched through the wall, missing Li's head by inches. The young biker dove behind the bench seat, shaking. "They're trying to kill her," Rodriguez said, his lawyer's calm, cracking. "They don't care about witnesses anymore. They just want her dead." Nomad's radio crackled. "Jack, this is Inc. We got movement on the north side. 3 vehicles. No lights. Military-style approach. How many people?" "At least a dozen. They're setting up a perimeter." Nomad looked at Lily, still pinned beneath him on the floor. Her eyes were wide, terrified, but she wasn't crying. She was breathing hard, trying to stay calm, trying to be brave. "You were in combat," Lily whispered. "In the war, Afghanistan, free tour. Did you ever protect kids there?" Nomad's throat tightened. He thought of Katie, his daughter, dead at 14 from the trauma of trafficking he'd failed to stop. Dead before he'd even understood what was happening to her. "I tried," he said. "Didn't always succeed." Sarah said trying is what matters, that most people don't even try. Another shot. Steele returned fire. The distant crack of a rifle echoed across the desert. "Got him," Steele announced. "Snipers down." But the vehicles kept coming. Nomad radioed the other club members. "Form a defensive line. Nobody gets within 50 yards of this RV. Non-lethal, unless they fire first. We're not giving them any excuse to call this a biker gang shootout. Maria pulled Lily into a corner, shielding her with a Kevlar vest. Put this on. It's too big. Wear it anyway. The truck stop owner, Pete, appeared at the door. Jack, I got 47 people inside my building. Truckers, families. They're scared. Someone to leave, someone to help. Tell them to stay inside. Lock the doors. This isn't their fight. With respect, brother, you're on my property. That makes it my fight. Pete held up his own rifle. Korea taught me a few things about defending ground. Nomad studied the old man's face. You sure? Those men out there murdered a social worker who was trying to save children. I'm 73 years old. I've got maybe 10 good years left if I'm lucky. I'd rather spend them knowing I stood for something. The perimeter held for an hour. The sheriff's men probed for weaknesses, but the bikers had experience. Veterans who'd fought in real wars. Men and women who understood tactics, fire discipline, defensive positions. Then a black SUV pulled through the line. Federal plates. A man in a dark suit stepped out, holding credentials high. Stand down. FBI Special Agent Morrison. I'm here to take the girl into federal protective custody. Rodriguez stepped forward. Show me your badge up close. Morrison approached. His credentials looked legitimate. FBI seal, photo ID, authorization papers. Where's Agent Cordova? Rodriguez asked. Reassigned. I'm handling this case now. The girl needs to come with me. This situation has escalated beyond local jurisdiction. Something felt wrong. Lily felt it in her gut. She grabbed Nomad's arm. Sarah called someone named Morrison. Right before they killed her, he asked where I was. Nomad's hand went to his weapon. Step back from the RV. Morrison's smile faded. Don't make this difficult. You're not FBI, Rodriguez said. Or if you are, you're on Grayson's payroll. Real agents don't show up this fast without backup. They don't work alone. And they sure as hell don't demand custody without proper documentation and witness verification. Morrison's hand moved toward his jacket. Steele's rifle tracked him. Last chance, Morrison said. Hand over the girl in the phone. Walk away. Your club gets to survive. You get to go home to your families. No, Nomad replied. Morrison pulled a radio. Subject is non-compliant. Authorization to proceed with force. The night lit up with gunfire, not from Morrison. From the perimeter, Grayson's men opened up on the biker defensive line. Muzzle flashes strobed in the darkness. Steele returned fire. Maria dragged Lily deeper into the RV's interior, into a reinforced safe room designed for exactly this scenario. Stay down, Maria commanded. Don't move. Don't make a sound. Through the walls, Lily heard chaos, shouting, engines revving, more gunfire. Then an explosion. The RV rocked on its suspension. Lucky burst into the safe room, wilded. They're going to kill us all. We need to give them what they want. Maria's pistol came up, aimed at Lai's chest. Get out, Maria. Be reasonable. You've been on your phone all night. You kept trying to get Lily alone. You're working with them. Lai's face contorted. You don't understand. They have my sister. They took her 2 years ago. They said if I didn't cooperate, they'd kill her. I didn't have a choice. There's always a choice, Maria said coldly. Lucky lunged. Maria fired. The bullet caught him in the shoulder, spun him around. He collapsed, clutching the wound, gasping. My sister, he sobbed. Her name's Angela. She's 16. They took her from a group home in Tucson. Please, you have to help her. Lily stared at this broken man, this traitor who was also a victim. Do you know where she is? Lucky nodded, tears streaming. There's a ranch 60 miles south near the border. That's where they take them. That's where they keep them until the buyers come. How many children? Rodriguez demanded, appearing in the doorway. I don't know, 10, 15. They move them every few weeks. Outside, the gunfire stopped. An eerie silence fell. Then Nomad's voice on the radio. We've got casualties. 3 brothers hit. Steele's down. He took one in the chest. Vest caught it, but he's hurt bad. Maria swore. I need to get to him. Wait, Rodriguez said. He was on his phone typing frantically. I just sent everything on Sarah's phone to Cordova. Every file, every photo, every message. It's in federal hands now. Even if they kill us, the evidence survives. A new voice boomed across the parking lot, amplified by a megaphone. This is Sheriff Tom Grayson. You are surrounded by federal and local law enforcement. You have 30 seconds to surrender the fugitive child and all electronic devices in your possession. Failure to comply will result in lethal force. Lily looked at Maria, at Rodriguez, at Lucky bleeding on the floor. I don't want anyone else to die for me. Too late, Maria said gently. We're already committed. This is what we do. We protect people who can't protect themselves. But Steele would do it again. So would all of us. Nomad entered the safe room. His face was still with dirt and sweat. Cordova just confirmed he's inbound with a federal tactical team. ETA 90 minutes. We just need to hold that long. 90 minutes. Rodriguez repeated. Against how many? 20, maybe 30 shooters, plus whatever backup Grayson can call in. Lucky cough blood. They'll burn you out. That's their plan. They've got incendiary rounds. They're going to light this place up and claim you fired first. As if on cue, flames erupted at the truck stop's fuel pumps. Someone had ignited the diesel. Black smoke boiled into the night sky. Pete's voice crackled over the radio. Jack, we've got a problem. Fire spreading. If it reaches the main tanks, this whole place goes up. We need to evacuate. Evacuate where? Nomad demanded. They've got the exits blocked. Maria checked her ammunition. Then we fight our way out. Lily pulled Sarah's phone from her pocket. Hands shaking, she found the video files Sarah had recorded. 12 children's faces, 12 names, 12 families who thought their kids were safe in state care. If I die, Lily said quietly, make sure these families know the truth. Make sure they know what happened to their children. Nomad took the phone. He looked at this 9-year-old girl who'd lost everything in one night, who'd run 40 meters, who trusted strangers because she had no other choice. You're not dying, he said. Not tonight. Not on my watch. You can't promise that. No. But I can promise I'll die trying to prevent it. And I'm not the only one. The radio erupted with new voices. Not Grayson's men. Different clubs. Iron Brotherhood. Veteran riders. Desert Phantoms. 40 motorcycles. 80 bikers. Veterans and civilians. Men and women who'd heard what was happening and decided that badges didn't give you the right to murder social workers and traffic children. Jack, this is Hammer from Iron Brotherhood. We're at your 6. What do you need? Nomad's voice was still. We need to hold for 90 minutes. Can you do that, brother? We held Fallujah for 6 months. 90 minutes is a vacation. The tide turned. Not immediately, not cleanly. But the arrival of reinforcements changed the math. Grayson's men found themselves outnumbered, outmaneuvered, and facing opponents who'd fought real wars against real enemies. Then the news helicopters returned. 3 of them, cameras rolling, broadcasting live. And suddenly, Grayson couldn't make this disappear. Couldn't claim this was a criminal biker gang. Not when the footage showed veterans defending a truck stop against men in sheriff's department uniforms who were firing on civilians. Morrison tried to slip away in the chaos. Rodriguez tackled him, zip-tied his hands, dragged him back to the RV. You're making a mistake, Morrison gasped. You don't know who you're dealing with. This goes higher than some county sheriff. Good, Rodriguez said. Then when it falls, it'll make a bigger sound. Lucky was fading, his breathing shallow. Maria worked on him, despite everything, because that's what medics did. Angela, he whispered. The ranch. Promise me you'll find her. We will, Lily said, surprising herself. She took his hand. I promise. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You were trying to save your sister. I understand that. Lie's eyes closed. Maria checked his pulse. He's stable. He'll make it. Distant sirens. Different ones this time. Not local. Federal vehicles. A convoy of black SUVs with authentic credentials, led by a man in his 50s, with Marine Corps bearing and FBI windbreaker. Agent Cordova. Rodriguez called out. That's me. Someone want to tell me why I'm looking at what appears to be a small war in a truck stop parking lot? Nomad stepped forward, Lily's hand in his. Because sometimes the system breaks, and when it does, the only choice left is to build a wall and protect what matters until the good guys show up. Cordova looked at Lily, at her bloody bandage, her torn clothes, her terrified but defiant eyes. You must be Sarah Chen's foster daughter. Lily nodded. Sarah was my sister-in-law, Cordova said quietly. My wife's younger sister. She called me 2 days ago, told me what she'd found. I told her to wait, to let me handle it through proper channels. I should have listened when she said there wasn't time. The weight of that hung in the air. Another person who tried to do things the right way. Another person Sarah had trusted who'd let her down. She wouldn't blame you, Lily said. She'd say you got here in time to finish what she started. Cordova's jaw clenched. Then let's finish it. Cordova's federal team moved fast. They arrested Morrison first, then swept through Grayson's perimeter, detaining deputies who'd fired on civilians. But Grayson himself was gone, vanished in the chaos like smoke. He ran, Steele said, pressing a hand to his bruised ribs. The vest had saved his life, but he was moving like every breath hurt, probably headed to the ranch to destroy evidence. Cordova checked his weapon. What ranch? Lucky told us before he passed out, Rodriguez explained. 60 miles south near the border. That's where they're keeping the children. How many? He said 10 to 15. Could be more. Cordova's face hardened. I've got a tactical team, but they're 90 minutes out. If Grayson reaches that location first, then those kids die. Nomad finished. He'll burn it down. Make it look like a cartel operation. Blame it on trafficking from the south instead of trafficking to the south. We can't wait 90 minutes, Maria said. She was covered in soot from the fire, her eyes fierce. Those are children. Cordova looked at the assembled bikers. 40 men and women, veterans, some with visible scars, some with invisible ones, all of them ready to ride into hell if it meant saving kids. This isn't legal, Cordova said carefully. Anything you do without federal authorization could be prosecuted. I can't officially sanction civilian involvement in an active federal operation. Understood, Nomad replied. So officially, you never had this conversation. What conversation? Cordova's expression didn't change, but his eyes said everything. I'm going to secure this crime scene, process evidence, interview witnesses. That'll take me at least 2 hours. What you do in those 2 hours is between you and God. Steele pulled out a map. His hands shook slightly. Adrenaline crash mixed with pain, but his voice was steady. Lucky gave me coordinates before he went under. Ranch is here about 12 miles from the border. Single access road, high ground on 3 sides. Whoever built it knew what they were doing. Former military, Cordova said, studying the map. That area used to be a training facility, decommissioned in 2008. Government sold it to private buyers. We never tracked who actually purchased it. How do we approach without being seen? Rodriguez asked. You don't, Steele said flatly. It's a kill box. They'll see you coming from miles away. Lily had been quiet, sitting in the corner of the RV, listening. Now she stood. Lucky said his sister Angela is there. She's been there for 2 years. She must know the layout, where the guards are, where they keep the kids. We can't exactly call and ask her, Maria said gently. No, but I can. Lily held up Sarah's phone. Sarah had contact information for every child who went through her house, including the ones who disappeared. If Angela had a phone when she was taken, Rodriguez took the phone, scrolled through contacts. Angela Ramirez, last known number, 2 years old. He looked at Lily. Even if she still has it, they'll be monitoring communication. Let them monitor, Lily said. Her voice was small but fierce. Let them know we're coming. Maybe it will make them panic, make mistakes. Nomad crouched beside her. You've been through enough, kiddo. You don't have to be part of this anymore. Yes, I do. Sarah died trying to save these kids. I'm not letting her die for nothing. The determination in her eyes reminded Nomad of Katie. His daughter had been fierce, too. right up until the trauma broke her. He'd failed Katie. He wouldn't fail Lily. Make the call, he said. Rodriguez dialed. It rang 4 times. Then a girl's voice, cautious and afraid. Hello, Angela Ramirez. Silence. Then who is this? My name is Marcus Rodriguez. I'm with your brother. He's been hurt, but he's going to be okay. He told us where you are. We're coming to get you. You can't. Angela's voice cracked. They'll kill everyone. There are guards, cameras, dogs. If you come here, they'll know. Her voice cut off. Someone was talking in the background. A man's voice. Harsh. Then a different voice came on the line. Older, cold. Who the hell is this? Rodriguez didn't hesitate. This is the attorney representing the federal witnesses who are going to destroy your entire operation. You've got one chance to walk away with your life. Let those children go. Laughter. Cruel and confident. You don't even know who you're talking to. This operation has been running for a decade, protected at every level. You think some biker trash and a rogue FBI agent are going to stop it? I think you killed the wrong social worker, Rodriguez replied. Sarah Chen documented everything. Federal agents have it all now. Your protection just evaporated. The line went dead. They know we're coming, Steele said. Good, Nomad replied. Let them sweat. 20 minutes later, the Desert Wolves and their allied clubs formed a convoy. 40 motorcycles, 6 trucks. Enough firepower to start a war. Cordova officially looked the other way while his team secured the perimeter of the truck stop. Lily rode with Nomad and Maria in the lead truck. She insisted, said she needed to see this through. Nomad didn't have the heart to refuse her. The desert highway was empty at 4 a.m. Their headlights cut through darkness, engines rumbling like thunder. Lily watched the landscape blur past, her mind replaying Sarah's murder over and over. The gunshot, the blood, the way Sarah's eyes had gone vacant. You thinking about her? Maria asked softly. Lily nodded. That's good. Don't stop thinking about her. The people we love, the ones we lose, we keep them alive by remembering, by finishing what they started. Did you lose someone? My daughter. Different kind of violence. Drunk driver. She was 6. Lily looked at Maria with new understanding. Is that why you do this? Protect kids. Part of it. Mostly I do it because someone has to. World's full of predators. Someone's got to be the sheepdog. The convoy slowed. Steele's voice crackled over the radio. We've got a problem. Roads blocked. Tassimij jackknifed across both lanes. Nomad grabbed binoculars. The trucks looked legitimate enough. Standard haulers. But their positioning was too perfect, too deliberate. It's a trap, he said. The ambush came from both sides. Muzzle flashes erupted from the high ground. Bullets punched through truck doors. Bikers scattered, returning fire, using their vehicles for cover. Get her out of here. Nomad yelled at Maria. Maria threw the truck into reverse, but more vehicles appeared behind them. Black SUVs, professional operators, not sheriff's deputies. These were contractors, private military. Rodriguez was in the truck behind them. He leaned out the window, firing controlled bursts from his rifle. They're hurting us east into the desert. Then that's where we go. Nomad shouted back. The trucks left the highway, plowing into the scrubland. The motorcycles followed. Their riders bent low to avoid incoming fire. The bikes went down, riders tumbling. Other bikers stopped to help them, dragging wounded brothers to cover. We can't outrun them, Maria said, wrestling with the steering wheel as they bounced over rough terrain. We're not trying to outrun them, Nomad replied. We're trying to survive long enough to find cover. The abandoned mine appeared like a miracle. Steele spotted it first. A dark opening in the hillside, nearly invisible unless you knew what to look for. There, everyone inside. The trucks and bikes disappeared into the mine entrance. It was barely wide enough, scraping paint from both sides. The tunnel went back maybe 50 yards before opening into a larger chamber. Steele killed the engines. Silence fell, broken only by heavy breathing and the distant sound of pursuing vehicles. How long until they come in after us? Rodriguez asked. They won't, Steele said. Not right away. They'll wait. Starve us out. This mine only has one entrance. Lily's chest tightened. We're trapped. No, Nomad said, studying the mine walls. We're defensible. Big difference. But he was lying. Lily could see it in his eyes. They were trapped. And everyone knew it. Maria found a battery-powered lantern in one of the trucks. The light revealed old mining equipment, rusted rails, support beams that looked questionable at best. 20 bikers were wounded, including Steele, who'd taken another bullet in the leg during the ambush. I need to set up a field hospital, Maria announced. Anyone with medical training, help me. 3 women stepped forward, veterans like Maria. They worked efficiently, treating wounds, rationing medical supplies. Rodriguez checked his phone. No signal. They were too deep, too isolated. Nomad pulled Lily aside into a corner of the mine away from the others. I need you to listen carefully. If this goes bad, don't, Lily interrupted. If this goes bad, he continued firmly. You take Sarah's phone and you run. There's probably another exit. Old mines always have ventilation shafts. You find one, you crawl through, and you don't stop until you reach a town. I'm not leaving you. You have to. You're the witness. You're the evidence. Without you, none of this matters. Lily's eyes filled with tears. Sarah said the same thing, right before they killed her. She told me to run to save myself. I did what she said. And now she's dead. Nomad's throat tightened. He thought about Katie again, about the last conversation they'd had weeks before she died. She told him something was wrong, that she was scared. He'd been deployed. He told her to be strong, to wait until he got home. He'd failed her. Your foster mother didn't die because you ran, he said gently. She died because she stood up against evil, because she refused to be silent, and because of her courage, you're alive. You're here. You can finish what she started. How? I'm 9 years old. I can't fight men with guns. No, but you can testify. You can tell the truth. And sometimes, kid, that's the most dangerous weapon there is. Outside, engines idled, voices called out, amplified by megaphone. You're surrounded. We have thermal imaging. We know exactly how many of you are in there. You have 1 hour to surrender the girl and all electronic devices. After that, we're coming in and we're not taking prisoners. Rodriguez moved to the mine entrance, staying in shadow. They're serious. I count 20 hostiles, maybe more in reserve. Can we hold for an hour? Nomad asked. Against trained contractors with superior firepower? No. Then we need a different plan. Steele limped over his leg, bandaged, but still bleeding. There is another way out. Old ventilation shaft about 40 yards back. It's narrow, tight, but it opens on the far side of the hill. Can we get everyone through? No, maybe 5, 6 people. The rest would have to stay. Create a diversion. Hold them here while the others escape. Lily understood immediately. You're going to sacrifice yourselves so I can get away. Not sacrifice, Steele corrected. By time, there's a difference. I won't let you. It's not your choice, Nomad said not unkindly. This is what we do. This is who we are. Rodriguez pulled out his phone. Still no signal. But he'd been recording everything since the truck stop. Every conversation, every piece of evidence. He handed the phone to Maria. Get this to Cordova. Make sure the story gets told. Maria looked at the man she'd ridden with for 8 years. The man who'd become a brother when her daughter died and the world fell apart. Marcus, I know, he said simply. Tell my wife I love her. Tell her I was trying to do something good. The next 20 minutes were controlled chaos. Maria, Lily, and 3 other bikers prepared to crawl through the ventilation shaft. It was barely 2 feet wide, a claustrophobic nightmare that dropped down before angling up. Steele would lead them through. Despite his wounded leg, despite the pain, the rest of the Desert Wolves prepared for a last stand. They set up defensive positions, rationed ammunition, made peace with whatever came next. Nomad knelt beside Lily one final time. When you get out of here, you find Agent Cordova. You give him everything, every piece of evidence, every name Sarah collected. You make sure those children at the ranch get saved. Come with us, Lily begged. Please, someone has to hold this position. If we all run, they'll chase us down. But if we fight, we give you time. I don't want you to die for me." Nomad's eyes were sad but clear. "I'm not dying for you, kid. I'm dying for my daughter, for every child who got taken, for Sarah, who tried to stop it, for the idea that sometimes ordinary people have to stand up against impossible odds because it's the right thing to do." He pulled something from his vest, a photo, a girl maybe 13, with Katie's smile. Her name was Katie. She'd be 24 now if she'd survived. She didn't, but you will, and that has to be enough. Lily took the photo with shaking hands. "I'll remember her. I promise." "I know you will." Steele called from the ventilation shaft. "We need to move now." Maria hugged Rodriguez one last time. No words, just the silent understanding between people who'd fought together, suffered together, survived together. Then she was guiding Lily into the shaft. The darkness swallowed them. The rock walls pressed close. Lily wanted to scream to claw her way back out, but Maria's voice kept her moving. "Breathe, keep crawling. Don't think about the walls. Just move." Behind them, gunfire erupted. The contractors were coming. The desert wolves met them with everything they had. Rodriguez was the first to fall. 3 bullets. Sent a mass. He dropped his rifle, fell to his knees. The last thing he saw was his phone in Maria's hands, disappearing into the shaft. The evidence would survive. The story would be told. That was enough. The ventilation shaft opened onto a hillside 4 miles from the mine entrance. Steele emerged first, then helped pull Maria out, then Lily, then the 3 others. They could hear the battle raging. Automatic weapons fire. Explosions, screams. "We need to keep moving," Steele said, his voice hollow. "They died to buy us time. We don't waste it." But Lily couldn't move. She stood frozen, listening to the sounds of men dying to protect her. Men she'd met 6 hours ago. Men who decided her life was worth more than their own. Maria grabbed her shoulders. "Listen to me. You want to honor them. You survive. You testify. You burn that trafficking ring to the ground. That's how you honor them." Father Miguel's church was 15 miles away in a border town called Esperanza. They reached it as dawn broke. 5 exhausted people covered in blood and dust and trauma. The priest opened his doors without question. "Come in quickly." His church was small but solid. Stone walls, heavy doors, a sanctuary in the truest sense. "We have wounded," Maria said, "and we're being hunted." "Then you're in the right place," Father Miguel replied. "This church has protected refugees for 30 years. We don't stop now." Would spread through Esperanza faster than wildfire. A 9-year-old girl who'd witnessed corruption. Bikers who died protecting her. A trafficking ring that reached into law enforcement. The townspeople came. Farm workers, shopkeepers, teachers. They formed a human barrier around the church. No weapons, just bodies. Just a collective decision that some lines couldn't be crossed. When Grayson's men arrived 2 hours later, they found 200 people standing between them and the church doors. "That's federal property," one contractor shouted. "Clear the area. This is a house of God." An elderly woman replied, "You clear it, inside." Lily sat in the front pew, Sarah's phone in her hands. Cordova had called. His tactical team was finally inbound. 20 minutes out. "We need to hold for 20 minutes. Maria said to Father Miguel. The priest nodded. "We've held against cartels, against corrupt police, against ICE raids. We can hold for 20 minutes. But then Morrison appeared. The corrupt FBI agent had escaped federal custody. He pushed through the crowd, weapon drawn, heading for the church. A woman tried to stop him. He shoved her. She fell. Her son, maybe 17, lunged at Morrison. Morrison shot him. The boy crumpled. The crowd erupted. People surged forward. Morrison fired into the air, backing toward the church entrance. Steele met him at the door. Despite his wounds, despite everything, he blocked the entrance with his body. "Move," Morrison commanded. "No," Steele replied. Morrison fired. Steele fell, but he'd bought seconds, precious seconds for Maria to get Lily into the church's basement. for Father Miguel to call the media, for the story to go live. CNN picked it up first, then Fox, then MSNBC. Helicopter footage of a border town church surrounded by armed contractors, of federal agents racing to intervene, of townspeople defending a child witness. In the basement, Lily made a decision. She pulled out Sarah's phone, found the video recording app, pressed record. My name is Lily Martinez. I'm 9 years old. 3 hours ago, I watched Sheriff Tom Grayson and Deputy Frank Holloway murder my foster mother, Sarah Chen. They killed her because she discovered they were trafficking children. I have evidence, names, locations, everything Sarah collected before they killed her. And I'm not staying silent. She detailed everything. The ranch, the 12 missing children, Li's sister Angela, the payments to Judge Riss, the fake FBI agent Morrison, the bikers who died protecting her. Then she did something brilliant. She pressed the live stream button, broadcast directly to Sarah's social media accounts. Thousands of followers, growing by the second. The story went viral in minutes. Millions of viewers. Impossible to suppress, impossible to bury. When Cordova's team finally breached the perimeter, they found Grayson's contractor surrendering. The game had changed. You can't disappear a witness when the whole world is watching her testify in real time. Cordova burst into the church basement. Lily, she held up the phone. Still streaming, still recording. Did you get them? The children at the ranch. Cordova's expression softened. We got them. All 14, including Angela Ramirez. They're safe. Lily's legs gave out. Maria caught her, held her, while she finally broke down and cried. For Sarah, for Rodriguez, for Steele, for all the bikers who died so she could reach this moment. But they were tears of grief and relief mixed together. Because sometimes winning doesn't feel like victory. Sometimes it just feels like survival. And survival, Lily was learning, was its own kind of courage. The hospital room smelled like disinfectant and institutional food. Lily had been there for 3 days under federal protection, while doctors treated her for dehydration, malnutrition, and shock. The physical wounds would heal. The psychological ones were just beginning. Maria sat in the chair beside her bed, refusing to leave. She'd been there every hour Lily was awake, and most of the hours she wasn't. The Desert Wolves had lost 7 members in the mine. Rodriguez, Steele, 4 others whose names Lily repeated like a prayer every night before she slept. You don't have to stay, Lily said for the 100th time. I know, Maria replied for the 100th time. Agent Cordova entered with a woman Lily didn't recognize. Mid-40s, professional suit, kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. Lily, this is Dr. Patricia Hammond. She's a trauma psychologist who works with the FBI. She's here to help you process everything that's happened. Dr. Hammond pulled up a chair. I'm not here to interrogate you. I'm here to listen. Whenever you're ready to talk. I've already talked, Lily said flatly. I live-streamed my testimony to 3 million people. That was brave, incredibly brave. But testimony isn't the same as healing. Telling the world what happened doesn't necessarily help you understand what happened. Lily looked away. I understand perfectly. Bad people did bad things. Good people tried to stop them. Some of the good people died. That's what I understand. You're angry, Dr. Hammond observed. Of course I'm angry. Lily's voice cracked. Sarah's dead. Rodriguez is dead. Steele is dead. 7 people died protecting me. And I'm supposed to what? Be grateful, move on, pretend like their deaths meant something. Maria's hand found Lily's squeezed gently. Their deaths did mean something, did they? Because from where I'm sitting, all they did was trade their lives for mine. And I don't know if I'm worth that. Cordova sat on the edge of the bed. Lily, we found 47 children, not 14, 47. The ranch was just one location. Sarah's evidence led us to 3 more facilities, 2 in Nevada, 1 in New Mexico. 47 children who are going home to their families because of what you did, because of what those bikers did. You think that doesn't mean something? Lily's breath caught. 47, 47. Ages 6 to 16. Some had been missing 4 or 5 years. Their families thought they were dead. Now they're not. That's what Rodriguez died for. That's what Steele died for. Not just you. All of them. The weight of that settled over Lily like a blanket. 47 lives. 47 families. The math was impossible. Incomprehensible. But it was real. Dr. Hammond leaned forward. Survival isn't something you earn, Lily. It's not a transaction. You didn't choose to survive because you were worth more than anyone else. You survived because that's what happened. And now you get to decide what to do with that survival. I don't know what to do. Then we'll figure it out together. 2 weeks later, Lily stood in a federal courthouse in Phoenix. The grand jury proceedings had been scheduled 4 months out, but the live stream had accelerated everything. Public pressure, media attention, congressional inquiries. The machinery of justice, usually glacial, was moving at lightning speed. Sheriff Tom Grayson sat in an orange jumpsuit, his hands cuffed, his face impassive. Deputy Halloway was beside him. Judge Margaret Hendricks, 3 CPS caseworkers, 2 FBI agents, including Morrison, 11 defendants total, facing 247 combined charges. The prosecutor, a woman named Jennifer Chen, Sarah's older sister, stood before the jury. Her voice was steady, professional, but Lily could see the rage underneath the grief. The evidence will show, Jennifer said, that these defendants operated a child trafficking network for over a decade, that they used the foster care system as a hunting ground, that they falsified records, forged court orders, and murdered anyone who threatened to expose them. And the evidence will show that they would have continued if not for the courage of a 9-year-old girl and the sacrifice of 7 veterans who believed protecting innocence was worth dying for. Grayson's lawyer stood. Objection. Counsel is editorializing. Sustained, the judge said. But the jury had already heard it. The damage was done. Lily testified for 4 hours. Jennifer walked her through every detail. The night of Sarah's murder, the escape, the truck stop, the mine, the church. Lily's voice never wavered, but her hands shook the entire time. Maria sat in the front row, visible, present, a lifeline. When it was Grayson's lawyer's turn, he approached carefully. You don't cross-examine a child witness aggressively, not when the media is watching. Not when public opinion has already convicted your client. Miss Martinez, you said you saw my client shoot Sarah Chen, but it was dark, wasn't it? And you were upstairs. How can you be certain of what you saw? Lily met his eyes. I saw his face. I heard his voice. And I watched him step over her body like she was trash. I'm certain. The lawyer shifted tactics. You've been through tremendous trauma. Isn't it possible your memory of events has been influenced by stress, by the suggestions of others? I have Sarah's phone with recordings, with documents, with evidence that proves everything I'm saying. My memory doesn't matter. The facts matter. The lawyer had no response to that. He sat down. But the defense's real strategy wasn't to discredit Lily. It was to fracture the prosecution's narrative, to argue that Grayson was a scapegoat, that the real operators were higher up, untouchable. And that's when the second bombshell hit. Jennifer Chen played a recording, audio from Sarah's hidden surveillance system, a conversation between Grayson and someone else, someone whose voice made the entire courtroom go silent. Senator Richard Paulson, Arizona, 20 years in office, chair of the Judiciary Committee, and according to the recording, a regular customer. How much for the blonde girl, the one from Tucson? Paulson's voice was unmistakable. 60,000, same as always. Grayson's reply, why are the funds to the usual account? I want her delivered to the ranch by Friday. The recording ended. The courtroom erupted. Journalists sprinted for the exits. The judge pounded her gavel, calling for order. Lily watched Grayson's face. For the first time, she saw fear, real fear, because he just realized he wasn't the apex predator. He was a middleman, and middlemen are expendable. That night, Senator Paulson was arrested at his Georgetown home. The news broke during prime time. CNN, Fox, MSNBC, all running the same story. A sitting senator implicated in child trafficking. The scope was staggering. 3 more senators were arrested over the next week. 2 congressmen, a federal judge. The investigation had blown wide open, revealing a network that spanned multiple states and reached into the highest levels of government. Lucky Ramirez woke up in a federal hospital, his shoulder bandaged, his sister Angela sitting beside him. She'd lost weight, her eyes were hollow, but she was alive. "I'm sorry," Lucky said, tears streaming down his face. "I'm so sorry." Angela took his hand. "You came for me. That's all that matters. I worked for them. I betrayed people who were trying to help. You were trying to save me. That's not betrayal. That's love." Agent Cordova entered with a legal pad. "Lucky, we need to talk about your cooperation. The prosecution is willing to offer a deal. 5 years reduced to 18 months if you testify against the others. Witness protection for both you and Angela after your release." Lucky looked at his sister. "What do you want me to do?" "I want you to tell the truth," Angela said. "All of it. Every name, every location, every person who knew what was happening and did nothing. Make them pay." The trial lasted 6 weeks. The testimony was harrowing. Victim after victim taking the stand. Children describing years of abuse. Families describing the nightmare of losing a child to a system that was supposed to protect them. Lily watched it all from the witness gallery. Dr. Hammond sat beside her, providing support, helping her process the horror. Some days were unbearable. Some days Lily wanted to run, to hide, to pretend none of it was real. But Maria was always there. A nomad's widow, Carmen, came. She brought photos of Jack, told stories about his service, about Katie, about the man who died protecting a child he barely knew, because it was the only way he knew how to honor his daughter's memory. "He would have liked you," Carmen said. "You've got his stubbornness, his refusal to quit." "I wanted him to live," Lily whispered. "So did I, but he chose to die for something that mattered." "That's more than most people get." The jury deliberated for 8 hours. When they returned, the verdict was unanimous. Guilty on all counts. Grayson, Holloway, Judge Hendricks, all of them. The sentences came down like hammers. Grayson, life without parole, for consecutive life sentences. Holloway, life without parole. Judge Hendricks, 45 years. Morrison, 30 years. Senator Paulson, life without parole. The courtroom was silent as the judge read each sentence. No celebration, no cheers, just the quiet acknowledgement that justice, imperfect and incomplete, had been served. But then came the victim impact statements, the families of the murdered, the rescued children, the survivors. Angela Ramirez went first. Her voice was soft but clear. "I spent 2 years believing nobody cared, that I'd been forgotten, that I didn't matter. Lucky proved me wrong. The people who saved me proved me wrong. And now I'm going to spend the rest of my life proving that what's happened to me doesn't define me." A father whose son had been missing for 4 years spoke next. "Miguel came home last month. He barely talks. He has nightmares. He flinches when I touch him. But he's alive. Because of Sarah Chen, because of those bikers, because of Lily, that's all I can ask for." One by one, they spoke. 15 families, 15 testimonies, each one a reminder of the scope of what had been stopped. Then it was Lily's turn. She walked to the podium, Sarah's photo in her hands. She'd practiced this speech 100 times with Dr. Hammond, but now standing in front of the judge, the defendants, the families, the words felt inadequate. "Sarah Chen was my foster mother for 8 months. She was the first adult who made me feel safe, who treated me like I mattered. She died trying to save children she'd never met, children the system had forgotten. And she died believing that someone would finish what she started." Lily looked directly at Grayson. He refused to meet her eyes. "You took her from me. You took her from everyone she could have helped. You took Marcus Rodriguez, Steele McKenzie, 7 others whose only crime was believing that protecting children was worth dying for. You can't give them back. You can't undo what you did, but you also can't take away what they accomplished. 47 children are home because of them. 47 families are whole because of them. That's your legacy, not the power you had, not the money you made, but the children you couldn't destroy, and the people who were brave enough to stop you. She placed Sarah's photo on the prosecutor's table, walked back to her seat, sat down between Maria and Carmen. The judge addressed the defendants. You violated the most sacred trust society places in its officials. You weaponized systems designed to protect the vulnerable. You destroyed lives, families, futures, and you did it for profit, for power, for gratification. There is no sentence adequate to the scope of your crimes, but within the limits of my authority, I'm imposing the maximum penalty allowed by law. Grayson was led out in chains. As he passed Lily's row, he stopped, turned, met her eyes for the first time since the trial began. You think this changes anything? He said quietly. You think you've won? This network is bigger than me, bigger than all of us. You cut off one head, 3 more grow back, maybe, Lily replied. But you're still going to prison for the rest of your life. And I'm still here, still talking, still fighting. That's the difference between us. Grayson's face twisted with rage. A marshal pulled him forward. He disappeared down the corridor. Lily would never see him again. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Cameras, microphones, questions shouted from every direction. Jennifer Chen stepped forward. We won't be taking questions, but I will say this. My sister Sarah believed in the power of truth. She believed that ordinary people, when confronted with evil, could choose courage. She was right. Lily Martinez chose courage. The Desert Wolves Motorcycle Club chose courage. And because of their choices, 47 children are safe. The people responsible have been brought to justice and the system that enabled them is being reformed. A reporter shouted. What happens to Lily now? Jennifer smiled. That's Lily's story to tell when she's ready. In the car back to the safe house, Lily asked the question that had been haunting her for weeks. What does happen to me now? I can't go back to the foster system. Not after everything. Maria and Carmen exchanged glances. They'd been discussing this privately, hoping for the right moment. There's something we need to talk to you about, Maria said carefully. Carmen and I have been talking to Cordova about options, about what's best for you. You're going to send me away. Lily's voice was flat, resigned. No, Carmen said firmly. We're going to ask if you want to stay with us, with the Desert Wolves family. It's unconventional. The court would have to approve it, but we've filed a petition for joint guardianship. Maria would be your primary guardian. I'd be secondary. The club would provide support, protection, stability. Lily stared at them. You want to keep me? We want to give you a choice, Maria corrected. A real choice, not a placement, not an assignment, a family, if you want it. Lily thought about Sarah, about what she would say. Sarah, who'd always believed children deserved agency, deserved to be asked, not told. I want it, Lily whispered. I want to stay. The hearing took 3 weeks to schedule. Judge Rachel Morrison, no relation to the corrupt agent, reviewed the petition with skepticism. Joint guardianship by a motorcycle club was unprecedented, potentially problematic. But then she read the letters. 47 families, all writing in support, describing how the Desert Wolves had saved their children, how they'd risked everything, how they'd proven that family wasn't about blood or convention, but about showing up when it mattered. This is highly irregular, Judge Morrison said. But then again, this entire case has been irregular. Miss Martinez, do you understand what you're agreeing to? Life with Maria Rodriguez and Carmen Brennan won't be like traditional foster care. There won't be government oversight, no regular check-ins. You'll be part of a community that society often misunderstands and fears. I understand, Lily said. They're my family. They chose me. I choose them. And if it doesn't work out, if you change your mind, then I'll tell them because they listen to me, because they respect me. That's more than any other placement ever did. Judge Morrison looked at Maria and Carmen. You understand the responsibility you're taking on. This child has experienced profound trauma. She needs therapy, support, patience. There will be hard days when you question this decision. I know, Maria said. I've had those days with my own daughter before I lost her. I know what it takes to parent through trauma, and I know Lily deserves someone who won't give up on her. Very well. Judge Morrison signed the order. Guardianship is granted. Lily Martinez is hereby placed in the joint custody of Maria Rodriguez and Carmen Brennan, with the Desert Wolves Motorcycle Club serving as extended family support network. This court will review the arrangement in 6 months. Lily, if at any point you feel unsafe or wish to discuss your placement, you have my direct number. Don't hesitate to use it. Walking out of the courthouse, Lily held both women's hands. Cameras flashed. Reporters asked questions. But for the first time in months, Lily wasn't afraid. She wasn't alone. She was home. 6 months later, Lily woke up screaming. The nightmare was always the same. Sarah falling, the gunshot echoing, blood spreading across kitchen tiles. Maria was there within seconds, sitting on the edge of the bed, not touching until Lily was ready. Same one? Maria asked quietly. Lily nodded, her chest heaving. I thought they'd stop by now. Trauma doesn't work on a schedule. Some days are better, some days aren't. That's how healing works. Does it ever stop the dreams? Maria was quiet for a moment. My daughter died 7 years ago. I still dream about her. But the dreams changed. They're not all nightmares anymore. Sometimes I dream about her laughing. Sometimes I dream about things we did together that made us happy. The pain doesn't disappear. Lily, you just learn to carry it differently. Lily looked at the clock. 5:30 a.m. Too early to be awake. Too late to go back to sleep. I have the meeting today. I know. Carmen made breakfast. Scrambled eggs. Your favorite. They'd moved into a house together 3 months ago. Small place on the outskirts of Phoenix. 3 bedrooms. A yard where Carmen was trying to grow vegetables with mixed success. It wasn't fancy, but it was stable, safe, home. Carmen was already at the kitchen table, coffee in hand, reading the newspaper. She looked up when Lily entered. Big day, huge day, Lily corrected. She poured orange juice, sat down across from Carmen. What if they say no? Then we try again and again until they say yes. The meeting was with the state legislature. Lily had been invited to testify about proposed legislation, Senate Bill 447, nicknamed Lily's Law by the media, mandatory trafficking awareness training for all law enforcement, social workers, and court officials, increased oversight of forced placements, protection for whistleblowers who report abuse within the system. It was common sense policy, which meant it was facing fierce opposition from people who benefited from the broken system. Senator Whitmore is going to grill you, Carmen warned. He's already told reporters that you're being manipulated by special interests, that you're too young to understand the implications of what you're proposing. I'm old enough to understand that 12 kids went missing on his watch. Lily shot back, and he did nothing. Maria smiled. That's what you tell him. Exactly that. The hearing room was packed. Press, advocates, survivors, opponents. Senator Whitmore sat at the center of the panel, his expression already disapproving. He was 65, third-generation politician, and deeply invested in the status quo. Lily took her seat at the witness table. Her hands were shaking. She hid them under the table. Miss Martinez, Whitmore began, his tone patronizing. Thank you for joining us. I'm sure this is very intimidating for someone your age. I've testified before, Lily replied evenly. This isn't intimidating. This is necessary. Whitmore's expression flickered. I see. Well, then let's discuss this proposed legislation. You're advocating for mandatory training programs that would cost taxpayers millions of dollars. In your opinion, what qualifies you to make recommendations about statewide policy? I'm a survivor of the system you're defending. That qualifies me. You were a victim of criminals who exploited the system. That's very different from the system itself being broken. Lily leaned forward. The system allowed Sheriff Grayson to operate for a decade. The system rubber-stamped falsified transfer orders. The system ignored Sarah Chen's reports for 6 months before they killed her. If that's not broken, I don't know what is. Whitmore's jaw tightened. Those were individual bad actors, not systemic failures. 47 children, Senator, 4 states, 10 years. multiple departments, multiple agencies, all failing at the same time. That's not individual bad actors. That's a system designed to fail the people it's supposed to protect. Another senator, Rebecca Torres, leaned into her microphone. Miss Martinez, can you tell us specifically how this legislation would have prevented what happened to you? The training would have taught caseworkers to recognize trafficking patterns. The oversight would have caught the falsified paperwork. The whistleblower protections would have let Sarah report safely instead of being murdered for trying to do the right thing. But we already have oversight, Whitmore interjected. We already have training programs. This legislation is redundant and expensive. Your oversight failed, Lily said flatly. Your training failed. 47 children are proof of that failure. This legislation fixes what you broke. The room went silent. You didn't speak to senators that way, especially not when you were 10 years old. Whitmore's face flushed. Young lady, I understand you've been through trauma, but that doesn't give you the right to make accusations. I'm not accusing you of anything, Lily interrupted. I'm stating facts, documented facts, facts that are public record because of the trial. You can deny them if you want, but the families of those 47 children know the truth, and they're watching this hearing, deciding whether to vote for you next election. Senator Torres tried to suppress a smile. Senator Whitmore, I think the witness has made her point, and frankly, she's made it better than most policy experts who've testified before this committee. The hearing continued for another 2 hours. Expert witnesses, statistical analysis, budget projections, but Lily's testimony was what made the news. A 10-year-old girl calling out a senator for defending a broken system. 3 weeks later, Lily's law passed 32 votes to 18. Whitmore voted against it, but he was outnumbered. The signing ceremony was held at the state capitol. Governor Sandra Martinez, no relation, invited Lily to stand beside her as she signed the bill into law. This legislation honors Sarah Chen, the governor said to the assembled crowd. It honors the desert wolves who gave their lives protecting a child. And it honors every survivor who had the courage to speak truth to power. Lily, would you like to say something? Lily stepped to the microphone. A year ago, she'd been a frightened foster kid who thought nobody cared. Now she was standing in the state capitol about to address the press, the politicians, the world. Sarah used to tell me that silence is what evil depends on, that the moment you speak up, even if your voice is shaking, even if you're terrified, you break evil's power. This law is me refusing to be silent. It's all of us refusing to be silent. And it's a promise to every child in the system that someone is paying attention. Someone cares. Someone will fight for you. The applause was deafening. But Lily wasn't done. She pulled out a piece of paper. 7 names written in her handwriting. I want to read the names of the people who died making this possible. Marcus Rodriguez, Steele McKenzie, Jack Nomad Brennan, Thomas Wright, David Chen, Maria Sanchez, Anthony Morrison. She paused. These were the desert wolves who died in that mine. They were veterans, fathers, brothers, friends. They were imperfect people who did a perfect thing. They proved that courage isn't about being fearless. It's about being terrified and acting anyway. Later that day, Lily visited the Desert Wolves Clubhouse for the memorial dedication. The club had commissioned a wall plaque with the names and photos of the 7 who'd fallen. Beneath it, an inscription, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." 40 bikers stood in formation, weapons fired in salute. Taps played. Carmen cried quietly. Maria stood rigid, holding Lily's hand so tight it hurt. After the ceremony, Lucky Ramirez approached. He'd been released 2 weeks earlier after serving 14 months. His testimony had been crucial in convicting the remaining traffickers. His sister Angela was with him. "Lily," Lucky said, his voice rough, "I wanted to thank you for visiting me, for writing letters. You didn't have to do that." "Yes, I did. You saved Angela. That matters. I also betrayed you. I work for them. You were trying to save your sister. I understand that now. Doesn't make it right, but it makes it human." Angela stepped forward. She was 18 now. enrolled in community college, studying social work. Lucky and I are volunteering at Sarah's house. We wanted you to know Sarah's house, the safe house the Desert Wolves had opened 6 months ago, funded by donations that had poured in after the trial. A place where trafficking survivors could heal, get counseling, rebuild their lives. That's perfect, Lily said. Sarah would have loved that. The house itself was a converted motel on the edge of town. 12 rooms, common areas, 24-hour security provided by rotating Desert Wolves members, professional staff trained in trauma-informed care. Lily visited 3 times a week. She ran a support group for younger survivors, kids who'd been through what she'd been through, kids who needed to know they weren't alone. The first time she led group, 8 children showed up, ages 7 to 14, all of them scared, all of them damaged, all of them wondering if life would ever feel normal again. My name is Lily Martinez, she'd said that first day. A year ago, I watched my foster mother get murdered. I was hunted by corrupt police. I almost died a dozen times, and I'm not going to stand here and tell you that everything gets better, that the pain goes away, that you'll forget what happened. The kid stared at her with hollow eyes. What I will tell you is that you survive, and surviving is enough. You don't have to be strong. You don't have to be brave. You just have to keep breathing, keep getting up, keep putting one foot in front of the other, and eventually you'll realize that surviving isn't just enough, it's everything. One girl, maybe 9, raised her hand. Do the nightmares stop? No, Lily said honestly, but they change, and you learn that nightmares can't hurt you. Only real things can hurt you, and the real things that hurt you are over. You're safe now. How do you know? Because we're here. The Desert Wolves, the staff, other survivors, we're all here, and we're not letting anyone hurt you again. That's a promise. The group met every Tuesday. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes they just sat together in silence. Sometimes they cried. Sometimes they laughed at stupid jokes that weren't even funny, but felt good anyway. Angela co-led the sessions. She understood in ways the professional counselors couldn't. She'd been where they were. She'd survived what they'd survived. You're really good at this, Lily told her after one session. You make them feel heard. I'm learning from you, Angela replied. You taught me that surviving is its own kind of strength. On the anniversary of Sarah's death, Lily organized a memorial service held at the farmhouse where Sarah had died. The place had been abandoned 4 months. Crime scene tape still fluttering from the porch posts. Jennifer Chen, Sarah's sister, had purchased the property. She was converting it into a training center, a place where social workers could learn to recognize trafficking patterns, where law enforcement could practice investigation techniques, where Sarah's legacy could live on in practical, tangible ways. The service was simple. 50 people gathered in the front yard. Survivors, families, Desert Wolves, advocates. Lily spoke first. Sarah Chen saved my life before she even knew my name. She looked at a system that was failing children and decided she wasn't going to be part of that failure anymore. She documented. She investigated. She refused to be silent. And when they killed her for it, she left behind evidence that would destroy the people who thought they were untouchable. Jennifer spoke next. My sister was annoying, stubborn, relentless when she believed in something. She drove me crazy growing up, but she was right about everything that mattered. She was right that the system was broken. She was right that children were being trafficked. She was right that speaking up was worth dying for. Carmen read a letter from Jack Brennan. He'd written it 2 years before his death addressed to Katie, his daughter. A letter about why he joined the Desert Wolves, why he dedicated his life to protecting innocents. I failed you, Jack had written. I didn't see what was happening until it was too late. I didn't protect you when you needed it most. But I can protect others. I can make sure what happened to you doesn't happen to someone else. That's not redemption. That's just stubbornness. Refusing to let evil win. Refusing to let your death be meaningless. Maria's voice broke as she read. Every child we save is Katie living again. Every trafficker we stop is me keeping the promise I broke to you. I know you can't forgive me, but maybe somewhere you can see that I'm trying, that I never stopped trying. After the service, Lily planted a tree, A desert willow, Sarah's favorite. It would grow slowly, adapted to the harsh climate. Beautiful despite the difficulty of its environment. That's you, Carmen said, standing beside her. Growing despite everything trying to break you. That's all of us, Lily corrected. Everyone who survived. We're all desert willows. 2 months later, a documentary crew came to Phoenix. They were filming a piece about the trafficking case, about Lily, about the desert wolves, about the ripple effects of one social worker's courage. The director, a woman named Rachel Kim, followed Lily for a week to school, to therapy, to Sarah's house, to the clubhouse. What do you want people to understand? Rachel asked during one interview. Lily thought carefully. I want them to understand that heroes don't look like what we expect, that the people society fears, bikers, veterans, survivors, are often the ones doing the most to protect innocence. And I want them to understand that you don't have to be perfect to do good. Marcus Rodriguez was an ex-con who'd done time for assault. Steele McKenzie had PTSD so bad he couldn't hold a regular job. Jack Brennan blamed himself for his daughter's death every day of his life. They were broken people, but they chose to be broken in a way that protected others instead of destroyed them. That's what matters. The documentary aired 6 months later. It won an Emmy, but more importantly, it led to federal legislation. The Sarah Cheng Child Protection Act, mandatory oversight of foster placements, federal funding for trafficking investigations, whistleblower protections with teeth. Lily watched the bill signing on TV from the living room she shared with Maria and Carmen. She was 11 now, taller, still dealing with trauma, but learning to manage it, still having nightmares, but also having good dreams. You did that, Maria said, pointing at the screen. You changed the world. Sarah changed the world, Lily corrected. I just finished what she started. Same thing. 1 year to the day after the truck stop standoff, Lily got a call from Agent Cordova. We found another facility, Minnesota. 12 children. We're moving on it tonight. I thought you'd want to know. Did my testimony help? Your testimony broke open the network. Every arrest we make leads to 3 more. We've recovered 91 children in the last year, arrested 73 traffickers, shut down 18 facilities. That's because of you, Lily, because you refused to stay silent. 91 children. Lily let that number sink in. 91 families. 91 lives restored. It didn't bring back Sarah, didn't bring back the desert wolves who died, but it meant their deaths had weight, had purpose, had meaning. That evening, Lily returned to Sarah's house for her weekly group, but when she arrived, she found something unexpected. A girl sitting in the lobby, maybe 8 years old, Hispanic, terrified eyes, fresh bruises on her arms. Maria was with her. Lily, this is Sophia. She was recovered from a trafficking situation yesterday. She doesn't speak much English. She's scared. She doesn't trust anyone. Lily knelt beside Sophia's chair. She remembered being that girl, being that scared, being that alone. Ola, Lily said softly. Mayo, Lily, I'm not going to hurt you. Nobody here is going to hurt you. You're safe now. Sophia looked at her with eyes that had seen too much. Demi, Mama, we're looking for her, Lily promised. The police are looking. The FBI is looking. We're going to find her. But until we do, you're staying here with us, with people who understand. Enchendis, Sophia whispered to Eniendes. See, Lily replied. I understand. I understand exactly what you've been through, and I'm going to help you survive it. Sophia's hand, small and trembling, reached out. Lily took it, held it gently. You're going to be okay, Lily said. Not today. Maybe not tomorrow. But eventually, you're going to heal. You're going to grow. You're going to become someone who helps other people heal. Just like people help me. Maria watched from the doorway, her eyes wet. This was the cycle. This was the legacy. Victims becoming survivors. Survivors becoming advocates. Advocates creating systems that prevented new victims. Angela appeared beside Maria. Another one. Another one. Maria confirmed. But she's got Lily. She's got us. She's got a chance. That night, Lily wrote in the journal Dr. Hammond had given her. It was filled now with a year's worth of thoughts, fears, hopes, progress. Today, I met Sophia. She reminds me of who I was. Scared, alone, convinced nobody cared. But I'm not that girl anymore. I'm the girl who survived, who testified, who changed laws, who helps other survivors find their voice. Sarah died for this. The desert wolves died for this. And I'm living for this. Living for every Sophia who needs to know that evil doesn't win, that courage matters, that speaking up saves lives, that ordinary people, even broken ones, even imperfect ones, can do extraordinary things when they decide that protecting innocence is worth any cost. That's Sarah's legacy. That's my promise. That's why I'm still here. She closed the journal. Tomorrow she'd wake up early, go to school, attend therapy, lead group at Sarah's house, visit the Desert Wolves Clubhouse, live a life that honored the people who died giving her a chance at life. But tonight, she was just a kid, curled up on the couch between Maria and Carmen, watching a movie, eating popcorn, being normal, being safe, being home, and somewhere in a prison cell, Sheriff Tom Grayson stared at the wall, knowing that the little girl he tried to silence had destroyed everything he'd built, knowing that her voice would echo long after his name was forgotten, knowing that sometimes the most dangerous thing in the world isn't a gun or a badge or power. Sometimes it's a 9-year-old girl who refuses to be afraid anymore and a group of leather-clad strangers who decided protecting her was worth dying for. Because when evil depends on silence and ordinary people choose to speak, when systems break and communities build walls of protection, when victims become survivors and survivors become warriors, that's when traffickers lose, justice wins. And children like Lily Martinez prove that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the refusal to let fear silence truth. And the people who look most dangerous are often the ones fighting hardest to protect innocence. And that's not just a story. That's a promise. That's a legacy. That's why heroes wear leather and ride motorcycles and die in desert mines protecting children they barely know. Because some things are worth more than survival. Some things are worth dying for. And Sarah Chen's evidence, Lily Martinez's testimony, and 7 bikers' sacrifice prove that truth is stronger than corruption, love is stronger than fear, and ordinary, broken people can change the world when they decide that staying silent is no longer an option.